This meme picture is pretty much like saying Sonic is good right now, and if you disagree, you're wrong. And there's a high chance you might have a bit of this. Yes, even if you aren't an extremist, quote unquote. This is called toxic positivity. When you are so positive on something, you start to be toxic against any criticism, quote unquote. Sonic is in such a good state right now, but those doomers just can't stop complaining. Sonic is in a such good state right now is fundamentally an opinion. The only fact here is that the franchise is doing well financially, quote unquote. But those doomers just can't stop complaining. So in their minds, it's a set in stone fact that Sonic is doing good. And if you don't think that's the case, then it's not because you disagree with this statement that Sonic is doing amazing. It's because you want Sonic to fail, hence the name Doomer. If you say anything bad on the Sonic series, as long as you don't put something positive in the same post, someone can reduce all that to you being nitpicky and not even liking the series. I find funny that it's okay to appreciate the minimal details of Sonic, but criticizing others somehow isn't. If you're allowed to appreciate the good, subtle touches of lore and references that Ian Flynn has in his writing, then why aren't you allowed to criticize the ones that don't feel natural? Listen, I consider myself positive on the Sonic series. I like the current direction, gameplay of games, and etc. But I accept criticism towards the series regardless of how small or big it is. So if you want that type of content to become mainstream, please like and subscribe to help me achieve such dream. I will be thankful for you. Anyways, back to the video. Sonic Forces drove the fanbase to insanity on how disappointing it was. Then we spent 5 years with almost nothing Sonic. But after the movies and Frontiers, Sonic came back to be awesome in their eyes, and that leap felt so unbelievably good that now criticism towards the current state of Sonic is quite literally making them feel anxious about the state of Sonic, because if Sonic is not at its peak, then that good feeling from the leap of disaster to awesome will go away. Yes, this can even happen if you weren't into Sonic at that time, because Sonic as a whole has been inconsistent, which makes people overly defensive on the eras and part of the series they do like. It's just that this is more common with Sonic today. But now we go to the problem that's absolutely everywhere and is the core of this picture. The toxic positive crowd will make it seem on responses that the person is making a bigger deal about the criticism than they actually are in the former's head. That's something they do to their own head to escape criticism and feel good. Try talking about why Sonic's current model is worse than previous versions. No one here is losing sleep over Sonic's quills. No Sonic fan truly hates the series because of whatever they're criticizing about it. That's an illusion in people's heads. And if Sonic's quills are a big deal from a character design standpoint, those people are still doomers. Look at Sonic's current art direction. They have lost so much expression over these 4 Sonic projects. They are limited even if the animation quality is higher depending on projects. They are so bland and boring compared to how Mario is doing that.
Everybody shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up!
If this isn't enough proof that the toxic positivity in the Sonic fanbase is a psychological phenomenon, then I have no idea what it is. You are quite literally saying to stop comparing these two franchises with no explanation besides, quote-unquote, it makes Sonic look bad. You were literally saying, quote-unquote,
Stop comparing Sonic to Mario. It triggers me anxiety that Sonic isn't actually doing awesome. It feels bad.
both franchises should be compared because they are the two most iconic platformer mascots out there and were huge competitors against each other in the 90s. Mario has gotten off the bland art style and models 8 years ago, with all new games being visually unique and filled with personality and expression, while Sonic is still using the same art style with little to no variation, flawed models that either misunderstand the character's core or miss the capacity of expression those characters could have. Sonic Dream Team is an example of what the future of Sonic art styles could look like. But giving credit where credit is due, the animation and expression are getting better. Sonic is in the right direction right now, but if we don't point out the flaws of the series' current state, because it's got a lot of flaws still, some that carried over from the meta era, feedback will not be heard. Remember the Quill situation? Well, someone told that to Sonic Frontiers' director, Mario Kishimoto, and he said he would listen to that feedback, and there, done. Now we might not have this issue anymore. Yeah, Sonic X Shadow Generations and Sonic Racing Crossroads still use it, but the games were in production beforehand, and I believe we might finally break free from that in Frontiers too. This is causing so much toxicity. People are calling each other jobless, stupid, obsessive, and there are even cases of threatening. We are pretty much blaming the fans for pointing out issues and not Sega themselves for their branding and franchise management. I get it. It feels good to be positive on a franchise, but it's going too far. You are calling human beings you barely know genuinely awful things, and it hurts, okay? To be clear, I do believe there might be toxic people who are negative to be rage baiting and get money. But let's defer that from the actual person criticizing the series. Thank you for reaching to the end, and with all that said, bye-bye.